Hello, a very good evening. Welcome to Love Talk. It's a pleasure to be here with you again. I'm here joined by Elena, my wife, as usual. And behind us on this side, you can see there's a little bit of a window there. We'll tell you what this window has to do with people's love lives. I think you'll be surprised.
My goodness, it has so much to do with love life. You will be surprised.
That's right. But we got a question sent to us a few days ago, and I'd like to answer that question right now. Someone said, Bishop, I've been separated for 14 years. Is it a sin if I get divorced? Short and sweet. And I think, Lena, this is a question a lot of people have. A lot of people ask us this. And I think it's because religion tells people a lot. Divorcing is a sin, no matter what. So sometimes the woman accepts a man to cheat on her once, twice, 10 times, 20 times, and she doesn't do anything because she heard this thing of divorcing is a sin. In the case of this person that she's separated for 14 years, they live separate lives, a divorce document is just to officialize something that has already happened. The separation's already happened. It's just to make it official.
Yeah. And why is this necessary? Because you will want to move on with your life. I mean, you should. Alone or with someone else, you should. And not have anything more, make you attached to the other person. That would be a sin. If you remain in that situation, thinking that it's a sin to, the word divorce. You see how people, sometimes they pay too much attention to names and not what's behind the name. Of course, God is not pleased with divorce in a way that people separate. And, ideally, you would be with your husband until the day you die and be very happily married. But unfortunately, people make mistakes. Sometimes, I don't know about your case, maybe you were a victim of betrayal or, violence. We don't know. So in that case, you have to do what you have to do and move on. But with the law on your side. You have to put things right before God and the law.
What's worse? After you're separated for 14 years, you finally get divorced, so you can move on with your life, or you don't get divorced because you think it's a sin, and you start a relationship with someone else, because that's what most people do. That's worse. So of course, God hates divorce, but there are situations that it's inevitable. There's nothing you can do. If there's violence, abuse, threat to life, if the person repeatedly cheats on you with no intention of changing, then you have the right to move on. The Bible says that one of the few instances where divorce is accepted is through sexual immorality. So the person has someone else, cheats on you, that's sexual immorality. You have the right to do that. Don't feel guilty. Okay? Now, we're going to listen to a song. When we come back, we're going to tell you what the window behind us has to do about your love life. You're going to be surprised.
How often, Lord, have I given you just scraps of time? Half-heartedly I've offered hollow praise to you. Thought I had so much to do and desires to pursue. In my selfishness I just drifted away. When priorities unravel, the impossible can happen. The family we dearly love gets pushed aside. While I sought you once again, I remembered when we met. when worshiping you, Lord, was all my heart's delight. I worship you. Let me run home into your waiting arms again and start all over to cherish your heart more than my own. Never let go of the bond between us both. Nothing justifies such a selfish life. I will never be fulfilled if I can't have you inside of me. Come, my Lord, take your throne as first in all my life. Nothing in this world means more than to seek you above everything that I have. I don't want to carry pride all my life until I die, finding pleasure in the world, yet barely knowing you. I want the heavens to be filled with the fragrance of my praise, to show the world the majesty of who you are. I'll create within my house a special room for just us two, and all my other needs will have to wait for you. I just want to worship you with all I have, and never more disgrace you, Lord, with scraps you don't deserve. Here am I, let me run home into your waiting arms again and start all over to cherish your heart more than my own. Never let go of the bond between us both. Nothing justifies such a selfish life. I will never be fulfilled if I can't have you inside of me. Come, my Lord, take your throne as first in all my life. Nothing in this world means more than to seek you above everything that I have. Come, my Lord, take your throne as first in all my life. Nothing in this world means more than to seek you above everything that I have.
Welcome back. We want to encourage you to share this program with your friends, and also if you have any questions about your love life, make sure you send them through. We'll be glad to answer them. Usually we don't mention any names so that no one feels that we are exposing their personal life. So what does the window there, or any window, has to do with your love life? Well, the Bible says there was a man, Paul, one of the greatest soul winners, perhaps the greatest soul winner of the Bible. Paul was preaching in a house one day, and it took a little longer than usual. He was talking for a little longer. He got excited. And there was a guy who sat by the window. And while he sat by the window listening to Paul, he fell asleep. And we shouldn't be laughing because he died. But he fell asleep, fell from the window, and he died. You shouldn't laugh because a man died, but it's funny. I'm picturing the situation. Paul preaching here. The guy sat at the window. He should have stood up.
Yeah. I mean, be careful with the window. You will understand a bit more. I'll let you speak about the window first.
You know, it's often said that the eyes are the window to the soul. Because the truth is, whatever your eyes see, that's where you follow. That's where you go. That's what you're attracted to. And anything can be a window. For example, the internet, the screen of a computer is a window to another world. Through internet you can access anything. The window of people's cell phones is a world, is a window. That screen is a window to talk to other people, to meet other people. Mm-hmm. And through that window, many people have gone on to cheat on their partners, to make mistakes because they didn't close. If the guy sitting by the window had closed the window, many people don't close the window.
That's right. And also the real window. How many people stand by the window of their house watching their neighbors go by with a happy family, and you are there envying what they have, you know, desiring to have the husband of that woman.
Many people work abroad. They don't have the window of the house, but they have the window of Facebook.
Oh yeah. That's a very popular one. So there are many ways you can, there are many windows in life, and it's true. If you don't close the door to those windows, your feet will follow what your eyes see, because this is what happens when people look at things, right? Like you were talking to me before we started recording. Jesus said God said in many instances, don't look back. Look at Abraham, look at this, look at that. So God knows that our eyes, we are very much led by what we see. And it's true, when we look at something, we may desire that something. We may think of that something that we saw. We might criticize, judge whatever we saw. So indeed, our feet follow what we see.
And the thing is that our eyes get excited by things we see. For example, it's very common that if you're working somewhere, you're working abroad, and you miss your family, you miss your wife, you miss your husband, and then you start looking at pictures of other happy families. We see a lot of people, they like to do videos singing with other men. They do karaoke videos singing. They look at other people's pictures, the opposite sex. The woman puts a comment on another man's picture. Oh, you look sexy, you look handsome. That's a window. You are allowing your eyes to look at a window that's going to make you sin. What do you think it looks like if I type on another woman's picture that is not my wife? I type there, oh, you look sexy. That's not an innocent comment. If I do that, Elena would get a slipper and...
You see, he knows what would wait for him. He knows. So the thing is, it's betrayal. You are betraying with your eyes. Even Jesus said, when you look at another woman or a woman with lustful desire, you're already committing adultery. So this is a big problem. For example, there's other things, because maybe you the example I'm going to say, you're going to think to yourself, but what does this have to do with love life? Many things. For example, how many people, maybe they don't do what you said, maybe they don't look at other people's pictures, other men or other women, but they keep, they look at shopping and more shopping, and they want to have this handbag because maybe where you came from you couldn't afford it. So now you can buy a new bag, you can buy new shoes, and it doesn't stop. It became an addiction, and you forgot the reason why you left your family behind and worked so hard and be away from your family. And that destroys many marriages, because the husband or the wife is away from the partner for a long time, saying, I'm going to go there, work hard for this family, we're going to build a home, but then years go by. Where is the money? Yeah. There's many debts.
You sit on the window, you're going to fall. You look at the window, you're going to fall. So that's why God is so good that He's bringing to us the fast of Daniel, so that we can get rid of our eyes wasting time looking at things that are wrong. And I want to advise you not to do that only through the fast of Daniel, but to have that as a principle in your life. Don't leave likes on pictures of the opposite sex, because that's going to lead to conversations, to the person thinking something different of you, even if it's not your intention. And from there, something wrong can start. So to put likes on on the opposite sex's pictures, to leave comments on the opposite sex's pictures, to start comparing yourself to other people's relationships. Someone got married, you're still single, and you start looking at the window, oh, I'm still single. And then you start to panic, and you enter a relationship because you panicked, and things start to go wrong. And then you find out you married the wrong person. Why? Because you panicked. Look what God said. God brought Abraham outside his tent, and God said, Abraham, look at the stars. God could have told him, look at the ground. Look at your neighbor, look at the tent, but he said, look at the stars. You can't look any higher than the stars. That's where God wanted Abraham to fix his eyes. He brought Abraham to the land that He was going to give him, and He said, look to the right. Actually, I said, look to the right, and I'm pointing to the left, but it's because I'm holding the microphone. So He said, look to the right, look to the left. Because everything your eyes can see, I will give to you for possession. So use your eyes to look at something positive. Look at your future, plan your love life, plan to see your husband with different eyes, see your wife with different eyes. If you're single, see yourself with different eyes. That's how you should use the eyes, because otherwise you start looking at other people and other things, you're going to fall from the window. If you're going to look at something, look above, look at the stars. That's how your life is going to be blessed.
Yeah, and remember, many times when you look at something, many times it's not what it looks. So next time you see a friend very well dressed, with expensive bags, with expensive shoes, with whatever, a husband, or, oh, she got married very quickly. You don't know how she's doing what she's doing. Do you understand what I mean? I think you do. So maybe behind all that luxury, there are piles and piles of debts. So don't follow your eyes. Just as a last example, when I was learning to drive, I had a hard time driving in a straight line. Okay, I know this may sound a bit silly. So whenever I was driving, sometimes I would go off, the line on the road, and my instructor always told me, Elena, remember, your car will follow your eyes. Keep your eyes on the road and you will not go wrong. So I think this applies to this very well. Yeah. Keep your eyes in God, in the right things, and your life will not go wrong.
Peter, when he jumped from the boat to walk on the waters, as long as he kept his eyes on the Lord Jesus, he walked on the water. The moment he took his eyes out, he sank. Be careful where your eyes are looking. All right? I hope that you take this program today as an interesting learning experience for your love life. Get off the window. If you're sitting on the window, get off the window, because you might fall. Okay? Let's watch now a powerful testimony. Following that, we'll show you the addresses of the churches in Asia, where you can go to find help wherever you live in Asia. And afterwards, we'll have our program, Miracles Can Happen, with Bishop Flavio. Until next time, God bless you. Bye-bye. Everyone that changes has a different experience, a different journey. I'd like you to share with people at home your journey of transformation. Who were you before meeting me here, sitting here in this chair on this program?
Before meeting you, and I mean before being here where I am today, I would say I was completely lost in every sense of my life. Where you know, when people in the church say people in the world, the definition of that is being caught up with everything in the world, like the idealistic of living the life in quoted, you know, inverted commas. And this is because I was lost in who I was. I didn't have my own identity because I was kind of like driven by either society where I grew up. I grew up in quite difficult areas at some points in my life, and I kind of adapted really quickly. So whoever I'd be around, I'd get influenced because my friends were always older than myself. So I remember the first time I was introduced to, for an example, women, seeing women. I mean, I immediately got a big liking to women. So I started developing a problem with women in terms of not being able to be faithful. Mm-hmm. So I had many relationships with different women. And then as I got older, I started meeting different people, different, kind of caliber of society or social class. So I met, people that were involved in gangs. And then I got involved in that, in drugs, selling, growing, and then...
Did you actually got to sell drugs?
I never would personally touch in terms of like selling it myself.
But you got involved with people who did?
Yes, involved with people who did, even to the point where I was growing it as well. Mm-hmm. And then...
so you actually got to the point of growing drugs?
Yes.
Tell us about, you mentioned your identity. You didn't have an identity. What does that mean? When you look back now, what does that mean?
I was easily influenced. I was always had a mind of my own. No one told me to do anything. And based on, the aggression, the anger, I had so much anger inside of me because of my life didn't turn out the way that I wanted it to. You watch things on TV and you see children that have an amazing life, and then you want that. But then because you didn't have it, I kind of had this anger towards who I was, the life that I had. So I used to try many different things. So when I would see people doing this, I'd get involved in that because I wanted to. And then if I see people do this, I'd get involved in that because I wanted to. So for every situation I was in, I was a different person. To my parents, I was this young, good boy, does everything well. And then outside, I'll be a completely different person. In terms of women, if I was with one girl, she'd be the one, I'll tell her everything she wants to hear. And on the other side...
you were an actor.
Exactly.
You were whoever people wanted you to be, you were.
Exactly.
Did you ever get tired of being this person?
I really did. And when I did, this is when I was lost of who I was. I was starting to believe my own lies. I was starting to actually build, false memories of things that I'll tell to either women, to guys, to whoever it may be. So when I started building this character, I needed a way out because I was getting so lost. I was, when you lose your own mind, your own sense of sanity, you start becoming crazy. And
so you used to lie so much and make up this persona so much that you started to believe
yes.
that this were true.
Exactly.
You didn't know the difference between reality and truth.
I started losing that difference between reality and truth. Exactly.
When was the point where things finally changed for you? What did you do so that your life could take a new direction?
I remember it was actually the thing that got the worst for me was in terms of like with relationships with women, because it had got to a point where I couldn't control myself in terms of the addiction to women. So I would speak to multiple amount of women at the same time, and then it wasn't until I met someone that I actually cared about, and it was then when I wanted to change, but I found it so difficult to. So I felt hopeless because I knew who I was. I knew that I was that person that couldn't make a strong decision. So I needed help.
So you wanted to change. You found this person you wanted to be faithful to, but you couldn't change from that person you were by yourself. So how did you finally change? What did you do?
I was attending the UCKG Help Center for actually, I think about a year and a half, and at this point. but it was always on and off. You know, I wasn't very committed. And so when an event came up, and it was to do with, you know, love life, it was to do with relationships. When that came up, there was one person that was an assistant of the church that was very persistent to, you know, to getting us to go there. She bought some tickets for us, and then that was the starting point of everything changing, because...
So that day sparked a change that was to come.
Exactly.
How are things today? Who are you today? Are you still a womanizer? Are you still a liar, an actor, someone who pretends to be someone else?
Completely not. Today, I know exactly who I am. I know exactly what I want. I go exactly for what I want to go for.
Do you still have many women?
No, no ways. I'm married to one woman, you know, faithful to her. We have a happy relationship. I mean, we're almost as if one mind, you know, but we work together in that way. And since I'm working this out, it's helped me to actually find who I am. Because when you have that faithfulness, like the faithfulness to God, you know, it makes you kind of like loyalty. It gives you that sense of loyalty. So it really defined who I was, because...
So people who just heard your story, they heard that you were a womanizer, a liar, an actor. Would you be okay showing people at home who you are today?
Certainly, no problem. My name is Tapiwa. Today I'm a married man, I'm a family man, happy, faithful to one woman, and together we conquering many things together, and I'm really happy.